Video 1 here with episode 25 of Hauls and Hunts. This was a flea market weekend that found some good items. It was pretty much everything I'm going to show you was purchased in New York while I was down visiting some friends, and LC and I hit up some flea markets in the area. It was a beautiful day out and the dealers were out in full force. So don't forget to check out LC's channel, which hopefully I included a link down below for the stuff he found on this weekend. First up, we have some video games and comic books from some local flea market and church parking lot. The N64 I found for $3, a perfect condition except for that little scuff there, which you don't really see for this game. It's Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine, which I believe is a Blockbuster exclusive, and most of the copies floating around had the Blockbuster labeling wrapped around it. This one is very clean. I'm happy to find it. It's funny because a few videos back you saw that I picked up for $5 a copy with no label on it. And while $5 isn't bad, $3 for the perfect condition is even better. Now I have an extra copy of the game, which I haven't even got around to playing since I filmed that video, so I bought the other one, which seemed like a good idea at the time, but this was a pretty cool find to start the day off for $3. Next up, for $2, is the game that I already have, and it's the reason why I bought a PS2, to be honest, because I'm a Nintendo guy, and I had no interest in the PS2. I was content with the first-party games, but then one of my favorite films, The Warriors, the game was announced for the Xbox and the PS2, so I bought a PS2 just when this game came out, and it's such an amazing game. It's probably one of my top non-Nintendo first-party or franchise titles ever, period. I wish they'd make more games with the Warriors. Possibilities are endless. So this is complete, and while I do have it already, I couldn't pass it up for $2. The guy had it in a bin of CDs. I think he thought it was a movie. I asked him how much it was. He goes, their movies are 2 for $5. He barely had any movies. I don't know why he was doing that then. I gave him $2 for it and he had no problem. So this was more just, I couldn't pass it up. Didn't need it, but certainly wanted it again. Well, didn't really want it again. It's good for the collection of Warriors memorabilia. For $3, we got Pikmin 1. This lady had a few GameCube games on the table. I tried to get her to go 2 for $5, but she said that she's not going any lower. Can't complain for $3. The box is in great shape, and the disc was, but as you can see, there's no booklet. That's unfortunate, but for that price, hey, not bad. It's a solid game. New Pikmin just announced at E3, so another fun puzzle simulator, however you want to look at it, coming out from Nintendo. And this was the first one. Pretty underappreciated game. Same lady. The only other GameCube game that I cared for in any manner. The other ones are just bad games, really bad games. Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. Very good for $3. Booklets in here. Well, the inserts are here. The disc was in great shape. Very happy. That's all I got. Oh no, I'm sorry. There's more at that flea market. This guy had a bin of comic books from mostly the Bronze Age, but they were all $1 each, and these aren't anything that's worth money. They're just ones I didn't have. This is just a random issue of Tomb of Dracula, and it's issue 57. Tomb of Dracula is a great title. The Marvel 70s horror books were fantastic, and it was only $1, and it's just an issue I needed. Eventually I might go for a full run. I have a good chunk of it, but it's more like one of those books where I'll just pick up if I need them. Here was a Marvel Presents #3 featuring the original Guardians of the Galaxy. I always liked these characters. Still do. It's a shame that the book got canceled a year and a half ago or whenever that was. This is really good book that paid tribute to all the series that came before while still moving it forward. So it was $1. Another $1 book was the original Warlock Mini, Warlock series. It didn't have too many issues. This may have been the only one I needed for my run. It might be one more. So it just, the guy had a lot of other good things there, but I wasn't just going to buy and do enough of that. So that was the first flea market. Then after that, we hit up Green Acres Flea Market in New York, and the first vendor it hit up was pretty much I guess he's a video game reseller, but he wasn't a jacked up reseller. He just had a lot of random games, and things were a mess. And it's not that he didn't already have. He kind of did, but he kind of didn't. It was weird. But he had a box of Dreamcast stuff, and he wanted to sell the whole box for $50. I don't need another Dreamcast system or controllers, and the other games in there were a lot of scratches on them. So I asked him how much individually, and he goes, $5 each. So this Resident Evil 2, which I have, feels like on too many systems. But, you know, it's a double disc. I'm not going to end up breaking, I don't want to break the case now, but both discs have no scuffs. The booklet was here. Great condition. The only scuffs are on the jewel case, but that's not an issue. Couldn't pass it up for $5. Wasn't anything I needed, but Dreamcast is one of those systems when you see the games really cheap, it's worth just grabbing. That's the collector more than the gamer, but the gamer loves that system. The next three things I show you, I got 3 for $5. This guy had a random, that's the only word I could use. It must have been one of the sellers that buys a storage unit and just dumps everything out. He had some wires for various systems, and there were a couple of cartridges mixed in there. Turok 1 for the 64 was one of those games. It's a ding in the middle, and it's like a rental code on the side. Aside from that, the cartridge is fine, and can't beat the price. And I'd buy any N64 outside of a Madden for that price. The other item, well, the two items were more comic related. It's Nightmare on Elm Street. It's in perfect shape. It's the first issue of the magazine. There were only 2 issues. I don't know why the barcode down here is missing. I don't really care. I had number 2 already, and number 1 goes for $20 or $30 sometimes on eBay, and I would never pay that much. But I love Nightmare on Elm Street, the whole franchise. I love Freddy as a villain. It's probably my top horror movie ever. So this is in perfect shape. He had a lot of these. It was just weird. There's a bin just full of Nightmare on Elm Street magazine number 1. And it's nice. I miss when Marvel had the black and white magazines because they were usually more mature stories. I wish that the Elm Street series lasted more than 2 issues, but for whatever reason it didn't. The third item this also harkens back to Marvel's good old days where they had the Marvel graphic novel series. Here's the movie adaptation of Roger Rabbit. There was another Roger Rabbit graphic novel in the series that I don't have, but this is what a real graphic novel is, not what the media tries to make anything these days because they don't want to use the term comic book. And Roger Rabbit's awesome film. This was a great adaptation, so I picked it up. Oddly enough, he had a crate full of these too. I don't know why. All he had was a crate of Elm Street number 1 and a crate of Roger Rabbit's. Very bizarre. Not sure where he picked them up from, but 2 games and the 2 books, $5 total. It's great. Following that flea market, I happened to stop at an FYE, which I spot check once in a while for the used stuff, and this caught my eye. It's Kiss Creatures of the Night, but this was not the original release. As a Kiss fan could tell, there's Bruce Kulick on the cover, and there's no makeup. When the album came out, Bruce was still 2 guitarists away from joining the band, and they were in all their makeup glory. So this was only a few dollars, and I have the original edition anyway, but just as a Kiss collector's item, figured for the novelty of it. You don't see these around too much. It's not the rarest thing. It's probably only worth like $10, but and I don't know whose butt shot that is or why that's there, but this was released later on, probably. Does it even have the other year on here? No, it still says 82. I think it came out like in 86 or 87, when Kiss's non-makeup era was probably close to its height. They wanted to reissue Creatures because Creatures is a kick-ass album, my favorite Kiss album, period. But nobody bought it. Well, not enough compared to their other albums. So I guess they figured if they re-release it with Bruce on the cover, it'll look like a newer product, but didn't. And it confused people, just like Ace is on the cover of the original, and Ace didn't play on there, and Vinnie Vincent did, and then Vinnie Vincent wasn't on the cover, so both versions of Creatures have guitarists that were not involved with the album. The only non-New York item, this is on my way back up. I stopped at a Bull Moose in New Hampshire and got Codename Viper for $3 for the NES, an old Capcom game. But while I was in New York on the day of the flea markets, I know I didn't pay this price, there was a yard sale on Craigslist near where I was going, and the lady said that they had video games. Got there, there really weren't too many, but she said she'll come back with some in the morning because they were doing a 2-day yard sale. I drove back over there, and I grabbed Mario's Missing and Mario's Time Machine for the Super Nintendo. I didn't pay $20 for them, but she had stuff all marked up already. Forgot what I actually did pay, but I would never pay $20 for these. Mario's Time Machine I played and beaten when I was younger. Mario's Missing I played and beat. Mario's Time Machine I never played, but this is when they were trying to make a bunch of educational games using Mario. Some were on the Nintendo, some on the Super Nintendo, and there were even a couple on the PC, like Mario Teaches Typing. Mario's Missing was a lot of fun. It was kind of a Carmen Sandiego ripoff, but yeah, no, they're just fun, simple ideas using the Nintendo characters. Nothing wrong with that. So that's it for the flea market wrap-up for that whole weekend. Thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe.